Amanda. Thanks, inspectors, for joining us. Let's get started. So, Charlie, can you tell me how you're moving forward with inspections right now?
Well, we've done a couple of changes. One is we've added quite a bit of video to our inspection report because people can't be there, and the capability of the program that we use, it's been beneficial to our clients to add the video so that they can feel like they're there. So in the report, we're adding video. At the end of the inspection, we will do either a Zoom chat or a Facebook FaceTime with the client if they would like to do that. And that's working out pretty good too, being able to walk through with my phone and showing them some of the things that we found, and just talking about the safeties and shutoffs, working out pretty good.
Jason, what are you guys doing? Are you doing anything differently, or how are you moving forward?
No, basically the same. We're producing our report. We're discussing it over phone, Skype, FaceTime, Zoom, just depending on what the client's capabilities are. With, of course, vacant houses or the buyers are leaving and wearing lots of PPE.
So
Okay,
with
All right.
It looks like we've got Jim on board now. Jim, we can hear you and see you now. Thank you for
That's okay.
joining.
Yeah, so basically, to answer your question, yes, we treat it just like an out-of-state buyer. So we do the report, get them on FaceTime or whatever video media they want to use, or to do a final walkthrough, and then obviously show them things that we have pointed out to them, and then coincide with sending them the report, and then calling and going over the report again over the phone as we're both looking at it to if there's any questions.
So you guys all mentioned video, and does that mean that you're walking through the property with the buyers using video, or you're sending video after the fact? How are you using those things?
I am walking through with the clients on an as-needed basis.
Same here.
Using either Skype or Zoom or FaceTime, right? Like walking through with a video. Is that what you mean, Jason?
Correct. And if they have an Android device, we can do the video call.
We're doing the same thing, video call, Zoom, FaceTime, plus we've added video to our reports. So they've got a video that they can review right in our report after the fact as many times as they like. So with that capability, with the program that we use, it eliminates a lot of the questions. They can go back through. If they want to see the video again, they can look at it and look at it and look at it. So it's quite a nice feature.
Okay, great. So since you guys were out of business, quote unquote, for a couple of weeks, what do your current timelines look like for inspections?
We're out about 3 days right now, but we're starting to feel a slowdown with the agents not being out and active. So after this week, we'll probably be more available because we're not getting the calls that we normally are.
Yeah, I agree with Jason on that. Pretty much available any time now because of the slowdown.
So with the changes and how the inspections are being done, meaning that the buyer's agent and the buyers aren't there, do you think that there is more time needed for the agents and buyers to go over those reports?
I think it depends on whether or not the buyer is a new buyer or an experienced buyer. I think, yes, more time is needed for new buyers when the process is new to them and owning the home is new to them. Our more experienced buyers are more familiar with the process, understand a lot of the stuff we're talking about, and can probably continue the process at a normal pace.
Yeah, I can agree with that because first home buyers, they're nervous and their anxiety level is through the roof and they don't necessarily know what a GFCI is or how to trip it or where it's located or any of those things. So you take a little bit longer time for them than like Jason said, an experienced buyer.
Megan,
And
we had a question come through.
go ahead.
I think we could clarify a little bit. The question is, if the home is vacant, are they allowed to perform a physical inspection?
Is the question whether they can be at the house or they can't be at the house with us, I guess is the quick answer to that. Being vacant house enables us to do the inspection a little quicker, but the governor's order still won't allow them to travel and be at the inspection with us.
Right, I wanted to clarify that you guys are still working. You are considered critical infrastructure workers, so you're doing inspections on all sorts of homes, and the vacant aspect shouldn't really make much of a difference, but the buyer still cannot be there. That's correct.
Correct.
Yeah, I think that is should be clarified for anything. If it's a vacant home, the buyer's agent cannot show the home. The listing agent can't allow the buyers in. The listing agent can't allow the buyer's agent in, and the buyers are not allowed to travel to go see that home, whether it's vacant or not, and whether or not they have contacted the seller can't let the buyers in either because the buyers and sellers would both be in violation of the executive order. So I think that's a good point to bring up. Thanks, Amanda.
We are having a little difficulty with sellers understanding the importance of them not being there, not only during the inspection, less so during the inspection, but more so picking up radons, setting radons, water testing. They're still wanting to be there, and we can't have that be the case. So when we are finding that, we're asking them to reschedule when they can vacate the property for the few minutes that we need to be there to do our radon testing or our water testing.
So Jason, that leads perfectly into the next question. Thank you for the setup. Is there anything that the agents should be preparing their sellers for the home inspection? And I think you saying that they can't be there is great, but is there anything else that they should be telling their sellers?
Yeah, we are informing the sellers and leaving a little note behind saying that we were there. We appreciate them allowing us to enter a home to do the home inspection and letting them know that we're wearing our PPE, but we do still recommend a thorough cleaning of surfaces and such. You just can't be too safe in this environment.
Jim, I know yesterday we had talked about asking if the sellers can leave approximately 30 minutes before you guys get there. Is that something that you're still recommending?
Yes, if possible, because I know in these circumstances, there's families with kids and they got to get them around or they got to figure out what to do with them and pets. And so anytime, half hour or more, a lot of us do the exterior first and then we do the interior. So the more time for us to do that or to have the house sitting idle before we go there, I mean, is optimal, but it's going to be on a case by case basis, really.
We're more than willing to reach out via phone or text to let the sellers know when we're done so that they can return to, so that they have a more defined time. Some houses don't take as long as others, so that can help the process too, so they don't feel they have to be as gone as long or not know when they can come back.
Can you guys talk about what types of precautions that you are using now as you enter the sellers' homes?
Wearing face mask, wearing latex gloves, shoe covers. I was normally one that always would take off my shoes, but now I'm doing shoe covers instead. And then, making sure that we're not sneezing or leaving any bodily fluids behind.
Okay, it looks
Charlie,
like
how about you guys? What are you guys doing?
well, what we've been doing, obviously the proper PPE, and when we leave, we wipe down everything that we touched with like a Lysol wipe, things like that.
Jim, how about you guys?
Yeah, same thing here. You know, the more things we can do to disinfect on our way out, obviously, the better for everyone. Um, so, like Charlie was saying with the Lysol wipes, and Jason with with the boot covers and the latex gloves, it's all pretty much standard of what we had to change our mode of operation. So.
We had a question come in, if I could address it this time. It's a long one and it's got several parts. Is this done after an offer is accepted? What about looking at it prior to offer? And are you doing a short form inspection for a lesser fee?
We're only doing them when there's an offer accepted. We don't want clients to rely on our inspection to be the reason for them making a purchase, offering to purchase the house. So we'll only do an inspection if an offer has been made and accepted.
We do a pre-listing inspection for the homeowner, not the buyer, and we will do those upon request. It is not a short form. It's the same as a standard inspection. We just go in and do the inspection as if it were an everyday event. Obviously, the same PPE practices, and the seller or homeowner should not be there while we're there to limit contact with people. So no short form, no lowered fee, but we do a pre-listing inspection for the seller, the homeowner, and they're the ones that pay our fee.
Yep, I agree. And I agree early on that as well.
Thank you, guys. There's another question here. I heard that one inspector was not going to open anything like electrical panel boxes. Is that something that you guys are observing, or you are in just wiping it down afterwards?
No, we're not changing any of our inspection protocols. We're just wearing protective equipment. So the client is still able to get the same inspection. The process hasn't changed, just what we're wearing.
I agree with Jim or Jason there. That's exactly what we're doing. We haven't changed our procedures in the least. We're still giving the same quality full inspection that we always have. We're just being a little more careful with obviously the wiping things down and making sure that we're not contaminating them and they're not contaminating us.
And if I can add with the, one thing with the precautions as well is we mentioned yesterday, Charlie and I, and that we wiped down our equipment that we're going to take into the house prior to disinfect it. And then before our next job, obviously, we're going to disinfect anything we bring into the house to the next job, such as meters, ladders, those types of things. Hand tools, screwdrivers.
Yeah, wipe them down as we put them away.
Right.
That's what we've been doing.
Okay, great. What about buyers? What should agents be preparing buyers since the process is a little bit different and they don't get to actually physically be there?
The importance of them being available for a phone call during our scheduled inspection time. I've had a couple this week where I've had to talk to them later in the day, early evening, because they weren't available during our inspection time. While that works fine, it's sometimes convenient to have them available to see some of the stuff that I'm describing to them.
Right. If we can have a phone call with the buyer prior to the inspection and then see what type of video or chat they want to do, such as Skype, FaceTime, or whatever they are available, because not everybody has those abilities to do that, especially obviously older generations. So we'll have to try to figure out how to communicate with them as we're on site.
Also, to add to that, any concerns from if they saw the house before or from the due diligence that they've done. If they've got any questions, particular questions, we need to be asking those upon the beginning of the inspection so that we can answer those and address those in the video.
So Charlie, I think you broke up a little bit there, but I think that you were saying to have the buyers address concerns that they may have prior to the inspection so that you guys can pay a little bit more attention to it or video it or take a picture so that they have an understanding of what you found, correct?
Absolutely, yes. Any clarification that we can make for concern, that just puts our buyer at a little more.
Okay, I think we're losing Charlie again. I don't see that we have any more questions here. Jason or Jim, is there anything, any final thoughts that you want to add just for the agents?
Jason, go ahead.
We're having a lot of agents call and ask for creative ways that they can continue working, and I applaud them for that. It is difficult out there when they can't go and view the houses, and we'll do what we can do to help this process keep going. We're there for our clients and we're there for our agents.
And if I can add one thing before Charlie cut out was a lot of times there's disclosures in the buyer's agreement that points out things of the house. And if we can get a hold of those or they mention those to us prior to the inspection, then we can then go pay a little bit more attention to that as well and then address those issues as they come up.
Oh, that's a great point to make sure that they provide you those seller's disclosures. Great idea. Yeah, Jason, I think that all of our agents are trying to figure out ways to continue to work and getting the sellers more involved and doing video, I think is probably the best way to be able to perform that. Just to reiterate some of the things that have gone out in legal updates and legal opinions in the last week, I want to make sure that agents understand that they are not allowed to leave their house. That means you can't go put a lockbox on. You can't put a sign in the yard. You can still list a property as long as you haven't actually gone to that house to list the property. And then make sure that you understand that buyers aren't able to do a final walkthrough. If you have questions about some of those issues, if you look at last Friday's update, we have a legal opinion from the association attorney that kind of walks through all of the do's and don'ts of what can and can't be done. But I think that there's a lot that still can be done with video and through Transaction Desk having those e-signatures. So thanks everybody for joining us. We do not have a webinar tomorrow, but we do have one on Thursday. We're going to have our CPAs join us and talk about some of the small business loans that are available. Also, we're hoping to have an update on applying for unemployment benefits, whether we'll hopefully see if there's some movement on the self-employed and contract workers website for Michigan's unemployment. And on Friday, as Amanda said, we will have Senators Hertel and Barrett on, and they will be available to talk about what's going on at the state level and answer any questions you may have. So thanks, Jason and Charlie and Jim, and have a great day, everyone.
Thank you. You guys have a great day. Take care and be safe.
Thanks for having us.
Yep, thanks.
Thanks for having us.